SHODO!
Hey guys, welcome to the 35th episode of the SHODO Pop Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have...
No, continue there. Oh man, I forgot the rest of it. Oh well, hey.
Hey! Okay, I guess your mind has been clear, Shiadoze.
It's all the milk. It's all the milk.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But, guys... we got a ton of news, and a lot of it focuses around SHODO Pokemon that came back around again. So we're going to be covering the news. We're going to be talking about SHODO Pokemon. We're going to be talking about the latest CHODO Ultraman. And then Malunis, you did some articles with the Tokusatsu Network about the very first post of the SHODO blog. So we're going to get to talk to you about that. And then after that... if we have enough time afterward, I'm going to stitch together this episode with a sort of interview just to sit down and talk I had with Sentai 5. Sadly, he could not be on at this time, so we just had to schedule something around that. If it doesn't fit in this episode, you guys are going to get pretty much a bonus episode today. So don't worry about that. We're going to get you guys hooked up. But yeah, first up, we got SHODO Pokemon. And honestly, it came to me as a surprise.
Yeah. Especially because, like, all I remembered about the first one is that it was a very cliche kind of lineup because, hey, they had this CGI remake of the first movie at the time.
Yeah.
So it was it was just Mewtwo, Charizard, and Mewtwo in an armored suit, which is from the movie.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what Brian had told to us on the streets, and he said this next lineup is a bit more of a mishmash of stuff from everywhere, really.
Yeah, all of which is pretty popular.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know. Is Metagross really a popular... Well, I guess we should say what the lineup is.
Yeah.
We've got a Greninja, a Mimikyu, a variant Mimikyu, which we'll talk about, a Scizor, and a Metagross, which I forgot to put in the Twitter thread, but a Metagross nonetheless. And then, did I say the accessory set? It has an accessory set.
Yeah, apparently the first one did too. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. And it looks like these guys all have stand... Oh, at least two of them have stands. The ones that are two-legged.
I was about to say, the ones that can't actually stand up.
Probably, yeah. Which, to me, that's a lot of plastic to put in one box.
Yeah.
Because, to think about it, like, each of these figures, separate molds. You can't reuse these outside of, like, maybe Mimikyu. And I feel like, at the very least for Mimikyu, that one's certainly the budget figure of the line, and you're printing two of them per case. And I figure that's how they're able to, like, even out the set, especially with an accessory set that only has, like, very limited items, which is a repaint of, Scizor's hands, just a flat old ninja star, and 4 swords.
So that I was looking at that and I was like, I know what that is, but that looks really weird out of context. That is
for real.
That is the representation of a move called Swords Dance, which is supposed to, like, raise the attack power for a couple turns.
Mm-hmm. There was a time, like, I used to be into Pokemon, and there was a time where my friend really loved Lucario, and I had envisioned for him, like, when he used Swords Dance, like, just a bunch of different swords would fly around him, and he'd just grab one. Mm-hmm. I never thought that they'd be wooden swords just sort of floating around together. So it's a bit odd, but...
I want to say in-game they're supposed to be, like, these energy translucent kind of swords.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm surprised they didn't go for. But perhaps this is a cheaper plastic. But yeah, like I can see threads here of places where they definitely didn't not really cut corners, but like, lowered the budget on one end so that we could have more budget in, the other figures. Like I feel like what is it? Scizor and Greninja are eating up a lot of the budget. And then Metagross, you have basically three different pieces of plastic, or at least three different chunks. You've got the central unit, you've got the struts going to the legs, and then the legs. All those three things are the only things you need to sort of have a steel mold for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like Metagross being very symmetrical, that was easy to pull off. But yeah.
I'd also imagine that maybe they're a little bit chunky, so it might not actually matter, but I was going to say maybe they're also a little bit shorter, because I could see some of them being maybe a little bit shorter than others, like Mimikyu. It's supposed to be like a small Pikachu size thing.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, something tells me I feel like they're all the same size, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't even look at comparison images for the first set.
Yeah, I honestly have not seen much from it. I know that Chris Long of Long's Toys and Brian shared Shuko and Shinobi bought a box together, and they sort of shared it, but I've never seen them. I've only seen these production images. Not really any of them together in context.
Based on our experience with Candy Toys, I assume that they would probably be 4 inches tall at most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, considering it's Shodo, it's definitely shorter than 4 inches.
Oh yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, and because you were asking before, is Metagross really a popular one? I can't say for sure, but I know that Scizor and Metagross both have Mega Evolutions, I think. So that to me is
okay.
So that's always been an indication to me. Okay, that one's popular.
Yeah, and possibly potential remold. I don't know what that form looks like.
Pretty much all the Pokemon have at least one other recolor they could potentially do, because they have the shiny variants.
Okay. Oopsie. And I also realized a thing that they could potentially do, which I'm very doubtful they could, but if they wanted to be mean and evil, or if they wanted to just re-release these things, they could say, hey, we're just gonna re-release these and have tiny little people next to them, and these can be the Dynamax versions.
Nice.
Or is that the term?
Dynamax, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Kaiji.
So yeah, that's. Oh yes, of course. So that's this. SHODO Pokemon. Oh, the what is it? Mimikyu. There's a variant. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If it'll be marked.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, just to provide context for that, that's supposed to be like an attack animation. Its eyes light up.
Yeah, okay. And that was a little hard for people to see. So there is one with just the regular 2 black eyes and then the shiny yellow eyes. So, man, I'm sure that this one, at the very least, is a fan favorite. And on top of that, you're getting a reuse out of it, right out the gate. Even the first Shodo Pokemon stuff, that didn't really get a reuse out of it.
Yeah. Mimikyu, I'm sure that there are people who just genuinely like the design, but I think that it's one of those designs that kind of creates pity for itself, because the idea behind Mimikyu is that it's a Pokemon that feels unloved, so it dresses up as a popular Pokemon to feel loved. So it's that's adorable, pathetically adorable.
Yeah, that is. So yeah, I'm sure. Like, and also this is the easiest thing to like pop out of a mold. So I'm sure they're gonna be printing as many of these as they can.
Yeah. But when I was bringing this up with someone, two things came to mind. One was, oh, this is kind of an interesting lineup compared to before. We already said that before. But the other thing it reminded me was, oh yeah, this is Shodo. Man, wouldn't it be awesome if they made trainers?
Yeah.
Because someone immediately just told me an idea that would print money, which is just make some of the generic grunts from Team Rocket. Just like a male and female figure that you can troop build.
Like, you think that would make money, but take a look at, all the very last Shodo Versus set for Kamen Rider. And I have a feeling some of the people clicking on this video have no idea what Kamen Rider is. They just came for the Pokemon. But they're basically, grunts from the show, all together in one pack, and I can't imagine that that's sold incredibly well.
I guess it does.
But
have
maybe there's more notoriety to those guys.
I was gonna say maybe troop builders are a little bit of a niche thing, but I think Pokemon's a little bit more recent to the point that people would know who they are. I think the thing that the shocker grunt that everyone knows, the skeleton one, the thing that it has going for it is that it's just a goofy design.
Yeah. So, I'm looking at a picture that someone posted for the original SHODO Pokemon, and I'd say there's no real scale happening here. I feel like Charizard should be a little bigger than Mewtwo, and Mew is definitely very big. At least,
yeah,
I'd say it's 2/3. Should be good.
It could almost work if there was a human to go with it that's around that same size, because the thing that a lot of people kind of are surprised by when they look at the actual statistics is that Charizard's maybe about 5 or 6 feet tall.
Oh, really?
According to the Pokedex in the game. Not
according to the anime.
I was about to say, not according to the anime or Pokemon Snap, where it's a giant.
Yeah, so... Oops. I don't know, though. Like, there are places for that, though. I'm pretty sure there is another candy toy line that's doing more in-scale Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I looked at the link on the official site, I also saw this little set of miniature figurines, and they actually do have trainers there, but they're like 2 inches tall or something.
Is it the Pokemon Scale World?
I think that might be it.
Okay.
One of the photos they included was just like of Natu, which is like this little round bird, and it's just like it rests on your fingertip. It's so tiny.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a thing that sort of horrifies me.
When you can accidentally swallow it?
Or, just have it get lost in the carpet.
That too.
Oh my god. I'm looking at the Scale World Eevee. That is puny. That Ivysaur is huge. This stuff's pretty incredible. I can't believe all of these are in scale. This is a tangent, but Scale World looks pretty neat. They're not going to do anything. They're, statuesque figures, but I'm a stickler for scale, so that's really cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess that was Shodo Pokemon. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Actually, we didn't really talk about who else has effect parts. Well, basically just Metagross's. He just has like what I believe is just a blue ring with slam effects on it, which again, one of the easiest things to pop out of a mold. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, along with potentially a stand inside there, it would be the 2 Mimikyus and the accessory set that took a budget slash so that Scizor and Greninja could have more stuff.
Did you say Ninjor?
I said Greninja.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ninjor. Yeah. Did you have anything else?
Just that I'm always happy to see sort of, even though these are all popular Pokemon, they are sort of non-standard compared to some of the other things you'd normally see.
That's true. So, you being a Pokemon fan, what did you not like about the first set, and what do you think Shoto could do to actually get you... Well, I'm not going to say you didn't like it, but you didn't purchase it. What would they need to do for you to bite the bullet and finally go in?
Probably do some Pokemon that I like that never get figures.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Is this closer to something you're interested in? Are you thinking of picking this up?
I don't know. That I do like some of these designs, but they're not ones that I would immediately go for. But still, I like the look of them, and I think that if people like the look of them too, they should support it because it's doing quality stuff, it looks like.
Yeah, honestly. And yeah, I mean, I've said this multiple times this today, and I feel like I've said it multiple times these last few weeks, but like definitely support Candy Toy.
Mm-hmm.
Support Candy Toy as much as you can, because they're doing great stuff in this space. Yeah. So I guess bye to the Pokemon listeners potentially, but if you want to know about Kamen Rider and some really cool other toys, and if you are a toy collector, why don't you stay a while? We're gonna talk about some of the other things that Shoto has to offer. The same company that's doing these SHODO Pokemon. Yeah. So, there was an Ultraman post that went up, I believe, on a day.
That sounds right.
It went up on Wednesday of this week, which is...
Between episodes.
The 30th, right? Yeah. So, basically, in this post, they go over the premium Bandai set. And this time I was able to Google Translate all of this myself. I did honestly feel bad stealing from Adid Nuva just all that information. So, I figure you guys might want this information, so I decided to turn it into a Twitter post. That being said, don't know much about Ultraman, but here we go. The premium set's going to come with Tiga Dark, Camilla Effect, Gutswing, and Dark Giant Statue. And Dark Giant Statue sounds singular, but it's actually like 3 of them. I guess it's like that box is all 3 statues. And then Camilla Effect, I have no idea. Is it like the effect parts for Camilla?
I would assume so from that name.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess altogether it would come with Gutswinger or Gutswing. I don't know. But yeah, so they wanted to focus on the statues first, and in the blog it translated to, this is the first commercialization of a 3-dimensional object. Guys, they did it. This is the first ever 3D object that was made for commercial use.
Optimus
How crazy
Prime
is that?
Flies for the first time. There's a deep cut reference for the Transformers fans.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're hitting all those sectors. Pokemon, Ultraman, Transformers. Now
Add
I
that
can
to
put
the
it in
tags.
the tags. Yes, thank you. Really, this is they wanted to highlight really expressive poses, and they said this is unlike anything any of the other lines are up to, which to a degree I agree with. We did get that while it wasn't SHODO, it was SHODO scaled Geo statue. Yeah, but honestly, this is technically different than what we've gotten before, and I guess they were able to cast a more humanoid look, without the constraint of jointage. So
yeah, obviously I also don't know much about Ultraman, so I don't know the context of these, but these poses are pretty wild.
they're fantastic.
Have I
one of these dudes is trying to hear no evil. The rest of these guys are just doing weird stuff with their hands.
I was gonna say they're all kind of dancing in their own special way.
I guess so, yeah.
Have I talked before about the weird wording that they use that involves three-dimensional object?
No. I is there some sort of why do they say that? Why is Google Translate giving that to us?
I remember that popping up a lot when they were talking about the rider armors for Geo, the ones that are on the toy packaging. It seems like whatever that term is, it's what they're using in place of, hey, this hasn't been fully realized as an actual physical product. And that's how I've that's how I've kind of attempted to loosely translate it whenever it comes up.
That's fair. Yeah. So moving on to the rest of the stuff you get in the set. Tiga Dark is obviously Tiga. Someone's got to correct me.
Tiga is like the older one. Tiga is the current one.
Then what's this one? Is this Tiga?
Yeah, that looks like Tiga.
Okay, if I said Tiga before, oops. So Tiga Dark, straight repaint. So nothing much to say. Camilla is a brand new sculpt, and they said they, I don't know, built her from the ground up. She looks more feminine than the rest of them. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really add much in the realm of flair. The Guts wing, though, that thing's like 25 millimeters, and it fits in scale with just about everything here. So, yeah, they even have a picture of it. So, yeah, cool. Oh, also, they have a tease for the next update, and strangely, it doesn't look like an articulated figure that they teased. So this might be like a very I don't know, a very early sculpt. It looks like the detailing for Tiga, honestly.
Yeah, it says Super Action Ultraman Tiga, successor of Light. I'm assuming Super Action is probably CHODO.
Yeah, but they already did a Tiga, unless Tiga successor of Light means something different. Tell us in the comments down below if you know about Ultraman. I don't know what's going on here. So cool. But yeah, this looks like a Safubi figure. Like,
yeah, kinda.
Yeah, no cuts actually. I don't see any cuts on the arms or the waist, so I don't know what this is. Maybe it's another statue.
Maybe it's supposed to be like a really cool statue that's supposed to represent some sort of special debut scene. I don't know.
I don't know.
The way they have this dramatic lighting makes me think, oh, this might be a reference.
Maybe. Possibly. I just thought that they were trying to tease it. But yeah, cool. That's it. That's it for like the actual news. But again, Malunis, you happened to do a post on the Tokusatsu Network about something very interesting. Why don't you talk about that and break that down for us?
So I'm still behind on the 01 coverage, but I had time to do this.
Great.
For a while, I've been thinking it would be kind of cool to kind of go back into the archives of the Bandai Candy Toy blog just to see where they started and, see what they were talking about during the beginning of SHODO. So, with permission, with the people who run the Tokusatsu Network, I started an article called The SHODO Archives, which will be just, tentatively, I'm just going to say, the next one will happen when it happens.
Okay, cool.
And this first one is the 2 posts that happened in September, so I guess that's a decent introduction. Just to give a little bit of context, because we've talked about this blog since the beginning, but haven't really given any sort of context to it. This was started in October 2015, and they kind of, it's interesting. They kind of started off by saying, this is going to be a place where we talk about behind the scenes stuff and, give you an idea of what the toy production scene is like. So right away, they were basically saying, we're going to be pretty transparent here. And
cool.
They kind of just started off with like things like Converge and Shodo, so they've had some stuff there for a while. Apparently, moving ahead a little bit, when they introduced SHODO with Kamen Rider Exade, the person that ran these segments goes by N-No, or just simply N. I didn't really catch a gender, but apparently they were the development manager from Converge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And fittingly, the first thing that they covered for SHODO Exade was the level 1 form.
Mm-hmm.
The little chibi
adorable
form. Yes. And,
yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think I do want to go back and just say this first. When they introduced the idea of weekly Exade stuff, they basically said, this year our goal with the Rider Toy line is that everything changes. So, and I do remember that was a crazy thing to follow at the time, because it's like, wow, they're doing something different with the roleplay stuff. They're like little model kits, and they're doing some stuff differently with the vinyls. I think that was I think that was during build. Never mind. Oh, but they also, of course, had SHODO, which was a new figure line, and I guess going right into SHODO, they described it as like an evolution of what they've learned from making candy toy figures in the past, but they're like adding new ideas to the table.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the level 1 Exade figure they described as their first wall to overcome, because it was just like a little chibi figure, so it was something entirely new right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And the way that N describes it is, it was our first wall to overcome. However, if we did create the most accurate and most articulated level 1 figure on the market, then the staff would get all excited. So this child of ours was completed.
That's incredible. Yo, and it's hilarious to me that they were attempting to craft this brand new standard for candy toys and built up an entire system for it. And then the show was like, "Hey, we have these smaller ones. Can we do that first?" I mean, yeah, all right, we can.
Yeah, I guess it's like
we can do it.
I guess it's like one of the recent 01 blogs where they said, "I'm sure that everyone before me has had one of those moments."
Yeah. So, obviously, I just think it's funny that they made a big stink about doing something new, and then they were getting ready to unveil the brand new thing, and then these guys had to happen first.
And what I also think is kind of cool, because, it's kind of convenient that they do this, because it gives them a chance to kind of demonstrate that they're not fooling around. Because they demonstrate how, if you use these parts from the Brave figure that's going to be in this wave, then you can make the level 1 form of Brave. But what they do is kind of clever here, because they show it with the Exade chest sticker, and they bring up, you might think that it's a bit of a limitation that he has Exade sticker, but guess what? We're including Brave sticker with the Brave figure. And the reason that they did that is because they didn't want customers to feel disappointed and think, well, it's a candy toy, so it has to have this limitation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still have to buy a duplicate if you want to display all of them, but still, they're giving you the option.
God, this base body thing started from the beginning.
Oh yeah, the base body. Just moving on, I think at this point we all know how the SHODO stuff works. It's armor attached to the body. Mm-hmm. The armor and body are sold separately. The only thing that I thought was interesting...
Batteries not included.
Mm-hmm. Some assembly required.
Yeah.
Ask your parents' permission to assemble it, or whatever. I'm trying to think of what the original Nintendo commercial said. Your parents
ask your doctor if you have been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis.
I remembered what it was. It said, "Your parents help you hook it up."
Oh!
Anyway.
I'm sure they do.
Anyway, the only thing of note about the armor is that they specifically said, we made it so that you can attach the armor to the display stand, so even if you're not able to get the figure, then you can at least display this in some sort of way.
Oh my god.
Which, I thought that was probably the intention, and hey, they actually actively decided that.
Fantastic.
And this, I also thought was kind of funny. N talks about how attaching the armor to the figures might bring a Rider Toy fan back to the Sochak Henshin series. And then,
yeah.
And they also bring up how it reminded them of when they actually got to mess with the sample for the Kuga figure. So I guess N has been in Bandai for a long time.
That's cool. That's really dope.
And just going to the base body, again, another kind of fun detail that kind of dates this post. They show the base body that they made before they actually made the X-Aid. And
this, I gotta say, this is my favorite part of this entire breakdown.
Yeah, and basically just says, looking at the base body really makes you dream of one day seeing a Sentai in this figure style. It was weird. I saw that and I thought, didn't Yudo come into existence very shortly after X-Aid? During X-Aid?
Did it? I thought that happened...
Q Ranger. Q Ranger was
when was that?
Airing during X-Aid.
Oh.
It was probably towards the end of Q Ranger. I don't know when that would be for X-Aid.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think... I feel like X-Aid was pretty far ahead when Q Ranger might have been earlier on. That sounds about right. Anyway, they talked about how their goal with SHODO was to kind of reach this quota where the design process was to make it solid yet stylish and something that looks good whether you pose it or not.
Cool.
And they wanted to just focus on proportions, muscle tone, which I never even thought about that. X8 has abs.
Oh yeah, all of the I guess build doesn't really, but I always thought it was weird that there were these sculpted, really toned abs right on top of the figure.
Okay, so Power Rangers isn't the only one.
It's what Bandai do. Huh?
I was saying, okay, so Power Rangers isn't the only one.
Yeah. What's crazy to me though is that on the base figure itself, there's a clear cut for a waist, right? And X8 never had a waist, right?
I think that might have been a Daisoto thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that they also provide comparison images. I'm sure we talked about this when we went over the Candy Toy figure history, but I was just looking at the picture wow, the limbs are model kits. Just the limbs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for Ghost, yeah. Huh. I don't remember putting this together. I own them. I should remember putting this together, but I absolutely don't.
Maybe you got them used or something? I don't know.
I have no idea. No, I didn't get them used. I remember opening the box. I just don't.
But yeah,
and I had to put the stickers on. Oh man,
when
weird.
I kind of just out of context shared that in the Discord, just saying I don't really remember this, knowing this information, and someone said that it was a thing exclusive to Ghost. It sounded like.
Okay.
So I guess they were just experimenting.
Yeah, I was gonna possibly bring up a reference of any other candy toy, but I'm realizing now. If I didn't remember Ghost was a model kit, then how am I going to accurately remember if anything past Ghost was? So
yeah, I was meaning to ask you, you fairly recently, within the last few months, got some Gaim stuff again.
Those were definitely their own situation. Okay, yeah, I can accurately say those were their own situation. Really, all you needed to do was, it's basically more SHODO than it is model kit.
Right, and just on that subject. The reason that they bring up the Ghost thing, it almost kind of runs the Ghost figure into the ground because it basically says, compared to this, SHODO provides you almost immediate playability because all you have to do is attach a few armor pieces and stickers.
Yeah.
So that's like its own little selling point.
That's fair. But, on the flip side of that, I was sitting with Josh after the streets, and he took maybe an hour or two trying to put together the stickers for another 2, and he only got through 2 of them, so your mileage may vary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with another O's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He said he sat down
and cried
yesterday, and he was like, you know what? This is the only time I'm ever going to be motivated for this ever. I'm going to sticker it now. And he stickered O's.
Should have done it with them. Just endure the pain together.
I don't have mine yet.
Oh.
Like, it's still in transit, sadly.
Fair enough. And it's also interesting to see how much different the reveals are for this original SHODO stuff. Because, right out of the gate, they were talking about the level 1 body, but then they're like, also, here's level 2 Exit and Brave in the background. And then in the second post, they ended with just, we're also making Genman Snipe. Just like, just revealing a bunch of stuff right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Just casually.
Yeah, they didn't pull any punches.
It's also interesting to see because they eventually made props of the things like the Mighty Action X blocks, but in this image with Gem, it looks like they just have like papercraft ones, possibly.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my look back at the original blogs. Just again, I wanted to see the history of this because I've been following it since Geo.
Yeah, like this is some pretty incredible stuff. Thank you for sharing.
And the next time will be everything that aired or was posted within the next month. And I figured these probably won't happen very often, but when they do, it'll be like a month's worth of coverage just to kind of speedily get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just going to be the SHODO stuff specifically. I think it would take up way too much time if I started also covering all the Candy Toy stuff that was also being discussed.
That's fair. Well, all right. So yeah. I guess that was it for this blog. And as I'm sitting here, we're almost 40 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
And the extra episode is the perfect length of 20 minutes, and I feel like I should put it in here, but I'm so attached to the idea of having its own separate thing, so I might just sort of post that separately on its own, and maybe you and I could talk about a different topic, such as what have we not reviewed yet?
Let's see, we talked about the second to last wave for Geo, but I don't remember if we talked about the last one.
You know what? I don't believe we have. And I know that we were probably holding off to talk about it with Josh since he got another Geo, but that's fine. He can manage. Yeah, let's talk about it then.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we said this when it was revealed, but this is definitely the premium set, or at least the accessories in it make it feel like the premium set.
Yeah, they didn't really say as much, but they basically said, you probably expected us, based on our previous lines, that the last wave would probably be summer movie stuff. It totally was going to be, but we couldn't finish it in time. So I'm guessing this was just like a wave, or a premium Bandai wave of its own, which I guess is nice that it wasn't. Because these definitely are some nice things to have as a final wave.
But final wave! But
yes.
Their proclivity to giving us everything at retail, I feel like these would have been retail.
Yeah, it seems like they had they talked about this with the first figure in the wave, which was another Geo. They basically said, we wanted to include this in the number wave because, hey, he's kind of a big character and we want him to be more readily available than the another rider waves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's also, I think it's kind of funny how you can technically look at this wave as very different flavors of Geo.
Yeah.
One of them is technically a Geo that doesn't exist.
I really appreciate that they got to mirror Geo. And not only that, like, you know, the original figure, it came with one weapon, but they decided to pack in two here.
Mm-hmm.
Because how else are you going to get a backwards gun version of the I don't know what it's called. The weapon. The gun version of the weapon. How else are you going to get both of those? And I'm really glad that they just gave it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the Phys form, Decade Armor Phys form.
Yep, you got it.
That. Yeah, thank you. I've been training. That came out of nowhere, honestly. Like, sure, we had whispers of it as a not Ganbara. Is it Ganbarizing?
It was a medal in the Butabasol arcade game.
Butabasol, yeah. So one of the, like, just from all reaches came this set, and not just that. It's like the what is it? The
Ryuki
figure from the Ryuki special.
Mm-hmm.
Decade Armor Ryuki form. Yes, got it.
Less impressive.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, they had to make those molds from scratch, basically, and I am a firm believer that whatever's being done in Shodo is not going to get much crossover in SHODO. So honestly, I feel like those, you know, a Ryuki, was it Survive?
Yeah, that's the Survive form.
Yeah, that would never, SHODO Ryuki Survive would never happen, and they'll never make their money off of it.
It's funny you mentioned this. I don't know if I actually brought this up, but when I was, working through my backlog of Bandai Candy Toy reveals, it was when they revealed the last Waves Decade Armors. They had this, like, big group shot of all of them. They had the best gag in that image, which was that it kind of pans out and you see Shodo Ryuki watching the group shot. And Ryuki just says, SHODO looks kind of fun, but I don't know if I qualify. And then
Interesting.
And Gio just says, I don't think you qualify for SHODO, but I have a good feeling about Decade Armor.
Wait, so where did this happen? What happened?
And this was the last Wave's Decade Armor forms, like was it O's and Ghost? It was just like, It was like a group shot of all the ones that had been accumulated at that point, and it just kind of zooms out and shows Ryuki watching them.
And the blog sort of made mention of that or something?
Yeah, it was just like kind of goofy little dialogue exchange between him and Gio.
Wow, okay. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like that's soft confirmation of my theory of, just there are two different bubbles. The Shodo side and the SHODO side.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something I thought was interesting when I saw it. Like, I had trouble trying to word it because I always want to be careful about the wording, but it did basically translate to, you don't meet the qualifications for SHODO.
Interesting.
I'm guessing because Ryuki has two forms and there's not really much shared parts between them.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are shared parts between the base body and the various, like, other characters.
It's just that, there are a fair amount of unique parts on Ryuki Survive, but it's just like, they're also completely different colored suits.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much of an armor swap gimmick, basically.
Yeah, that's how I figure it goes down. And, like, you and I, we have this debate about is it going to be SHODO or SHODO for Wizard? Mm-hmm. And I'm staunchly in the category of SHODO, and you're there in SHODO.
Yeah, I mean, when I tried to think about how it would work, I thought They would probably have to make a lot of unique parts for this to work, admittedly. And with Shoto, it would just be like, we can just, like, remold the same body, and we're good.
Yeah, and then, because, like, what it comes down to for me is, like, those small details that, whether it be paint or sticker, you're going to have to make a decision on the base body of what you want it to be, and the swapping would become basically irrelevant.
The way that I kind of thought it out is that because he does have like those colored ankles and wrist bits, and I thought, for the wrists you would have to just make an entire new setup for the swappable hands, and I agree, for the ankles you could just make it like a swappable shin, but that would mean that like the back half would be unpainted or something.
Yeah. And even on, oh no, I lied. I was gonna say on the Geo figures, they have the wraparound sticker that holds it in place, but they don't. Mm-hmm. It's just on the shin, and the cuff is a separate piece.
Right.
But, yeah. I mean, going back, I definitely want to talk about this afterward, but going back to the set, it has those Woz book hands.
Yes.
Those are really fun. I'm half tempted to pick up another Woz on Mandarake, just to display the other hand with, because it needs a home.
That's valid.
Yeah. What else came in that set? Another Geo, which was a surprise.
Yeah. The way that they kind of explained it on the blog does make sense, though, because they basically said, I think they basically just implied another Geo is closer to a rider than a monster as far as the details go. So it doesn't need all the PVC, and also he has these little details on the face, like the date, which would not be something you could easily paint on.
Okay, that's fair.
Like I don't know exactly what they're going for when they describe the other riders, but it comes out as they're very organic designs. And I think that when I was trying to figure out what that meant, one of the synonyms that I found basically suggested, these aren't as streamlined as rider designs are. They're a lot more.
Well, I mean, I would agree with the organic translation.
That's also true.
Yeah, because I don't know. Normally riders don't have eyes that look like they could wink at you, or teeth and gums. Like, it's more of an organic look rather than a suit.
Normally you wouldn't be able to look at the rider's eyes and say, you look like you need some sleep.
Yeah. Or you look like you could use a toothbrush. So yeah, he was a neat inclusion. I don't know how I feel too much about the staff, because it's connected by this one really thick connecting port, and I don't like it.
I think,
but
I want to say,
having them in hand, huh?
I want to say that's not really something you're intended to use necessarily. It's just to hold it together when you're not using it.
I agree, but having it plug in on either side, what if I don't want him to hold it in the middle? What if I want him to hold it on like one of the sides? Like, that's true. There are a few other posing options that I wish were addressed a bit more, but what are you gonna do? Still like the figure. It looks great. All these look great. This last set was certainly a treat. If we couldn't get the movie stuff, they still promised it to us. If we couldn't get that, this was a pretty incredible consolation prize.
Yeah. Also on the subject of the books, the one thing that I could cite as a nitpick, which isn't really a big deal, is that it's a shame that these weren't on separate hands, so that you could just like have him hold both books for a goofy picture. But one of the benefits of potentially having extras is that the details on it are a flat sticker. Maybe you can make your own kind of goofy reference with the book.
That's true. Yeah. Because they are black on the side that looks at the Waz face. So, yeah, it's whatever you got, I guess. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know. I guess that's really it for our coverage on that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to go back. Let's talk about SHODO versus SHODO.
Right.
And like, I look to the candy toy figures or candy toy. No, I meant the what is it? The
SHODO?
No, the actual gimmick figures. And really there was no gimmick to be had, and I feel like those were just some really good figures. Sure. The dragon bits that you could place on the figure, those were a bit more gimmicky and a bit more in line with SHODO, but given what we've gotten for what is it, Agito, and who's heading up the current version of SHODO, which is shodo-x, I feel like it would be possible to have some sort of swappable pieces, to build whatever sort of form that was.
Yeah, for the Agito stuff, it's basically just you have like an alternate arm, an entire arm, basically.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a shoulder piece.
I was asking because I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I honestly thought it was a shoulder piece.
It would make sense because that's how much of the form changes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was basically saying, like, they could easily just like simplify it to, here's the dragon claw with an entire arm.
Yeah.
That would also probably help with stability because.
Oh, I was just gonna say the other thing is, like, would I see this would I see the chest armor as something that SHODO would try to replicate with paint, or would it look better with SHODO doing it with paint? I don't know. I feel like SHODO and the finishes on their characters are more matte, and I feel like that works really well with Wizard.
Yeah.
And then having that nice sheen over the paint. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the more I was trying to get at before, the more I thought about how Wizard would work in SHODO, I can see how it would make sense if you kind of if you assume that they do a lot of new stuff, then it could work, but as is, SHODO has a lot more going for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, the only real thing SHODO has going against it is the sheer volume of forms.
Mm.
You have, what, 10?
Roughly
10. So it's like, and you could technically, like, that middle chunk of 4, the very colorful ones, those, like, you could also display the armored up versions of each. I don't know.
I was going to say...
That's something I probably wouldn't...
I was going to say, those middle forms you could easily skip.
Yeah, I mean...
The way... Because as soon as you brought it up, I was just thinking... As soon as that thought crossed my mind, I was thinking, technically, all they need to do is flame dragon, and then they can do all the armor bits for that.
Yeah, Don't give them that out. I want all of them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
here's
that
the thing.
I'm sure that if they did Wizard, they would probably find some way to release all of them, because it seems like they are working towards that.
I think that they would do it sort of like they did with WAP, where they would put each of the figures would get a different version of the sword gun. So sword, gun, sword open hand, and then gun open hand. You know what I mean?
Did they do that with the? Because I know that the figures at least came with different colored versions. Or I'm thinking of the dragon specifically.
I thought for sure that they did, but I'm not 100% at this moment.
The only reason I question that is because I think, would they have gone through that effort? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
But yeah, that actually that makes a lot of
but...
sense as variants to do.
Yeah. And it's exactly the mentality that I think that at least shodo-x and shodo-o are going for, with being able to get the most complete versions of things.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is that I can kind of see it based on what they've been doing recently with Agito.
Yeah, and for as much guff as I give the Lightning Collection for doing different, like having different characters hold different versions of weapons, it's a little hypocritical of me to want that here in Shodo, but also it's all one character, so technically it's different. Like, it's all going into the same pool of that person's stuff. And honestly, I would want Shodo Wizard solely because, well, just in general, I would want new Wizard figures solely because there are, like, several characters that don't have merchandise. It's like, the White Mage, he does have, like, a figure arts release, but that's it. And Mage has the DX rings. What about Safubi?
I don't know if they even made that.
Wow.
Yeah, like,
didn't even bother with that. Aqua has that.
I'm pretty sure they only made the transformation rings, and maybe there was a card in something other than Ganbarizing.
Huh.
Mage is severely, like, overlooked.
Wow. Well, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm. And
I feel like that would be a neat Shodo-o set.
Yeah.
Like, in tandem with Wizard coming out the next month, or the very month would be that. They
would get a lot of mileage out of making different variants of Mage, because at the very least, you have 3 different colors.
And, I'm sure that is what that company would want to do. So, what would you see out of a potential first Shodo Wizard set?
I would say the most likely thing would probably be Wizard Flame style, possibly Beast, possibly Flame Dragon.
I disagree.
Ooh.
I don't think we're getting Beast, like, out the bat. I think we're getting maybe Flame, like the main 4, and then the bike. And that's being generous.
Oh, like, it's an entire wave dedicated to Wizard. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I was just recently looking at some Shodo stuff and reminded, like, oh, this is a wave with Hibiki and Hibiki's flame form, and then these 3 other unrelated characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm talking a wave of its own.
Yeah, if we're talking a wave, then probably, I guess the main forms would be that.
And I think, they don't come in sets, they come in boxes, so you're going to have to pack 10 of them in there. So I'm thinking you throw in 2 flame, 2 water, and then
bike.
1 ground, 1 wind, and then 2 of side A and 2 of side B for the bike. Because somehow, through some sheer force of will, they're going to make it also transform into... Oh, wait, no.
I was about to ask...
They can't make it transform.
I was about to ask, are you implying that they're going to make the big dragon that it attaches to?
No. Dang. I wish. I would buy that. And if so I could have it doing the kick.
And if they made Beast, then they could potentially make the Chimera, but specifically, they would be able to do something that the main figure line didn't do, which is give you a Chimera that isn't a gimmick thing. Because I'm pretty sure the Chimera that they released was just all of the attachable, like, mantles.
The mantles, yeah. They mirrored that perfectly with the Candy Toy release as well, because I actually own that one. It has a spot for all of them. I don't actually own Beast, however. I just have the Chimera with the mantles and no Beast.
That's how it goes with old Candy Toys.
Yeah. I have Beast's final form, but I do not have regular Beast to use the mantles.
Again, that's how it goes.
Yeah, coming up O's. I I know they're not gonna do this, but what if it's like Wizard gets SHODO or SHODO, and then Beast has its own sort of SHODO spin-off?
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
It would make sense. It would make sense with the way that the shoulder armors work.
Exactly, and like the shoulders just don't work that way with SHODO. Like there's no way to swap them in correctly, and I would like to have those really cool flowy effects that only SHODO would be able to recreate. But I don't know. I honestly don't see Beast having his mantles. But if they did,
if they did SHODO wizard stuff, then they'd have to make Mage with variant stickers one day. Of course.
SHODO?
I was saying if they made SHODO wizard stuff, then they would just have to make one Mage.
For real. Yeah. Yeah. Don't go. Anyway, that was a good discussion though. I'm really looking forward to Wizard, and they did say in the tease for the next SHODO set, it's going to be a mixed wave, right? And there's going to be someone that hasn't been made in SHODO yet.
Ooh.
And again, if the blog had sort of soft confirmed that the Venn diagram of SHODO and SHODO are very separate, I don't think that, in the realm of oh hey, what's happening in SHODO, maybe that's on I think everything being done by SHODO is off the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd be really cool if it was Wizard, but I don't know. I feel like if they did Wizard, I'd want him to have his own dedicated set, unless they did Wizard 2 halves of his bike and then just the rest of the wave dedicated to something else. I don't know.
Really, just when it comes to their teases, it's the only thing I can expect at this point is that it's something that hasn't been made. Because at this point, I've given up on the teases. Because I think every SHODO 01 thing so far has just been, will it be that character?
Oh yeah, that's not fair. That's not okay. And they make sure to not color it so they don't give us expectations like they did with Kashin.
Well, at least that's something they're doing nice at this point, is that they will just tell you up front, we're going to be covering these things in this blog post.
Oh, yeah.
Don't at me.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. It really, tempers expectations. At least once you're right there. Yeah, so Malunis, that was a podcast.
It was.
My dude. And you guys, you listened to it. Thank you for that. Thank you for getting this far. If you liked the episode, maybe you hit that like button. And also, if you're new here and for whatever reason stayed from Pokemon all the way until now for being new, subscribe if you want to hear more about these awesome, wonderful candy toy figures. It's such a good time. And to the people who are going to comment down below and say, where are the pictures? I don't know what to tell you. This is a podcast. It's an audio thing. I realize we host on YouTube, but this is a podcast.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
To those people, you say, there's going to be a video before this podcast.
That's true. You're right. There is a video that came out yesterday that talks about... with pictures that I host that talks about the SHODO stuff in detail. And yeah, go ahead and check that out if you were looking for pictures and then still kept this on and waited till now for the pictures. There's also links in the description where you can find the pictures. Not many people travel there. So go where few men have.
Yes.
And travel to the links in the description down below.
And my personal plug is always the Discord because, hey, there are plenty of people there now.
Yeah, there are plenty of people there. So special shout out to all you guys there.
Yeah.
Especially those contributing. I didn't want to clutter the toy listing sightings page, so I did not thank you, but Dr. Doctor for Conian Law. Draconian Law.
I was about to say, I think that's an A.
Yeah. You let us know that Ami had 02 AI02 up. I very much appreciate that. You were the reason I pre-ordered mine. Thank you so much. There is, and if you would also like to see the toy listings as the people are scouring the internet for them and have found them, that's the place for it. We're checking in on candy toy listings all the time, so check it out. Yeah, so guys, thanks for watching or listening. Keep it juicy.
Thank you. Please.
Fantastic.
SHODO はやる